All right, guys, so we're going to talk about a framework that I teach in my sales mastermind, which is acknowledge, confirm, ask. And this is the framework that I utilize for getting past basically any objection. So what I want to do today is I want to break down 5 of the most common objections and how do we utilize this framework for these objections. So we're going to start right at the top with price. Price is obviously going to be the number one objection 90% of the time. The issue that is going to prevent them from signing up is going to be price. So the first thing that we want to do when somebody says, man, this is really expensive, I'm not sure if I could do this, we want to acknowledge. So we don't want to start to justify our price right away. That's going to put us in a bad spot where we're basically arguing about the value. The first thing we want to acknowledge that objection. We want to acknowledge price and be like, oh, absolutely. I know this is super expensive. To be honest, like personal training is not cheap. This is very expensive. We want to acknowledge that the objection that they have is valid. Now, the second thing that we want to do with the acknowledge is we want to equate that to people that have success when they buy with us, so that their objection is actually one that makes them much more likely to be somebody who is going to buy. So for example, we go through price and they say, man, I really like what you guys do. I think this could be a great fit, but honestly, it's just really too expensive. I'm not sure that I'd be able to afford it. Absolutely. Like, to be honest, personal training is super expensive. It's not cheap. It's absolutely an investment. So I completely agree with you. Personal training for sure is going to be very expensive. But here's the thing. When it comes to price, like, I don't think that you're actually looking for the cheapest option, because when it comes to, something that is cheap, typically we equate that with something that is not very good quality. So I don't think you're looking for the cheapest, crappiest product. You're actually looking for the solution that would solve your problem. Now, at the same time, the fact that it is expensive is actually a good thing, because honestly, the client, who has millions of dollars in the bank and can afford to pay $300, $400, $500 a month for personal training, like, it's not a big deal to them if they don't show up, because that money basically means nothing to them. The fact that this is expensive for you is actually a really, really good thing, because this money means something. So if you sign up with us and you're paying $300, $400, $500 a month, and you know that that money is a stretch for you and it's going to be a challenge, like, to pay that amount month after month, you 100% are going to utilize this service to the maximum amount. Like, you're actually going to come to all of your sessions. You're going to work hard. You're going to make the changes in the diet. You're going to do all the things that you need to actually get the result, because this money means a lot to you. So when we acknowledge, not only are we actually saying like, yeah, absolutely, whatever that, whether it's price, spouse, think about it, whatever it might be, we're acknowledging that objection and verifying that it's valid. But then at the same time, we want to equate that objection with the activity or the behavior of somebody who buys and somebody who has success. Then, once we've acknowledged and we've said, hey, price, absolutely, it's very expensive, personal training is expensive, totally understand. Then we want to confirm, and that means confirm the value. So this is where we build the value around that particular item that we're selling. So for us, being personal training, we're semi-private personal training. So what we do to confirm the value is we talk about how much one-on-one personal training costs, how much large group training costs, what we do and how much that costs, how from a pricing perspective, it's much closer to large group, but from a value perspective and the service that you get, it's much closer to one-on-one. In doing that, we then make the ask of like, so understanding, what we do and the prices that we charge, do you feel like it's a good value, like for what we're providing for you? And we want to get them to yes in confirming the value. So now we've gotten 2 things. Number 1, we know that the price is very expensive. That's okay. At the same time, we've confirmed that the value is there. They don't think that the service is not valuable. They don't think that they'd be overpaying for it. They think it's a good value for what we provide. Then, once we've done these 2 things in that order, and in that order only, then we go to number 3, which is ask. Ask the real question. The real question is not, is this expensive? It's, can you afford it, right? And it's very important that we do this in this order, because if we do it out of order and you just go into the ask and somebody says, man, this is like, it sounds great, but honestly, it's just really expensive. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford this, you know, like $300 is super expensive. And you're like, yeah, well, like the real question is not expensive. It's like, can you afford it? Can you pay for it right now? You kind of sound like an asshole because you haven't done all these other things. You haven't acknowledged that like it is expensive. That's a good thing. You haven't confirmed the value with them. They might not actually think this thing is worth $300, $400, $500, $600. They might think that the value is much less. So you have to first do those things. Then you ask the real question, which is, look, I know that, look, we both agree this is an expensive product. It's not cheap, but I think we're also in agreement that that's a good thing. You're not looking for the cheapest, crappiest product. You're looking for the solution that is going to help you to solve your problem. At the same time, the value is there. I know you told me that you feel like this is a really good value for the dollar. What we're charging, you know, we far exceed on the value side. So really, honestly, the question is not, is this expensive? We know it's expensive. The question is, can you afford it? Even if it's a stretch, even if it makes you uncomfortable to put your card down and every single month you're like, oh, this is really stretching me. But do you have the budget that you can afford it? And if the answer is no, what is the top range of budget that you have? And maybe there's potentially some options that we can work within that budget. And so that is how you get around the price objection, but you have to do it in that order. You have to acknowledge, you have to confirm the value, and then you have to ask the real question. And then once you ask the real question, more often than not, you find out that they can afford the service, but it's just a stretch for them. But if you've done these two things, you now can drive them towards the close because you let them know, hey, the fact that this is a stretch for you is actually a good thing. You remind them of what you did in the acknowledge portion, and that is actually going to drive them towards the sale. And that is the way that you handle a price objection.